Greetings and felicitations, YouTube. This is Dinsdale 1978 coming to you from Team MP once again. I'm going to bring you some Medal of Honor footage here. Now, I know this isn't a game that everybody's still playing. There's not a whole lot of people on the servers at the moment, but it's a game that I actually didn't mind. But there were some broken mechanics and things that just weren't quite done, in my opinion. Now, what I'm going to be talking about is why I believe that Medal of Honor was more or less an experiment by the Battlefield designers at DICE to explore the differences between Call of Duty and Battlefield. And I really do believe that it was almost like they took a bunch of forum responses and forum complaints from Call of Duty players who wanted to bust on Battlefield Bad Company 2 and say, these are the reasons why Battlefield will never be as good as COD. And I think they took that back to the drawing board and said, well, let's test out some of those mechanics in the Battlefield engine to see if we can make any tweaks to make it more appealing to the Call of Duty crowd. Because we know we have a pretty solid game in a lot of ways, but is there a way to draw them in so that we can say, oh yeah, you want this, we have that too. You want this, we have that too. So I'm going to go down that, but I just want to say that first off, a couple of real quick tips. I found that in Medal of Honor, one of the best ways to run around is sneak around the flank and don't aim down sight that often unless you're a sniper. For the most part, if you run around and you hip fire and then aim down sight as you have them in front of you and you're taking the shots, you're going to kill them pretty quick and you're going to get the shots pretty accurately on target, because it seems to me that's the mechanic they were going for, this kind of spray and then aim, spray and then aim. And it actually does come in pretty effectively to my gameplay here. And just trying to hold with a bunch of randoms who, in my opinion, wanted to play sniper more than anything, but I could be wrong. And I'm going mostly assault, I believe, only because I wanted to continue leveling that class. Because I have level 15 on the Spec Ops, and I think I'm level 9 or so on the assault at this point. Or rifleman, whatever he's called in this. But anyhow, if you look at this game, the guns look very similar to what I've seen so far in Battlefield 3 footage. The weapon attachments, 3 per gun, I think is what they've announced already. And so I believe they were testing out some of the gun models and gun mechanics and the way the recoil, there's a lot of recoil on some of these guns. Now, they didn't have a ton of guns in this game, but the guns that they did have were used very effectively, in my opinion, and they were very powerful. The sounds of the game were also excellent. Now, I know people maybe didn't get a really good taste of this because they were too busy swearing at their TV screen at the things that they didn't like about the game. But the gun sounds were pretty interesting, and I think I remember watching a documentary or reading an article maybe about how they were recording a ton of new sounds, using realistic guns, obviously, and firing them in a range, and just making a library of gun sounds. And since there was such a small amount of guns in this game, it only serves to me to believe that DICE was creating a library of sounds for Battlefield 3. And as always, they're top-notch when it comes to sound dynamics in a game. If you've never experienced a deafening effect when you get an explosion near you in Battlefield or Medal of Honor even, you need to hear that with surround sound. It's just an amazing thing. So anyhow, I wanted to talk about this bulleted list of, I guess on a pun, complaints about why Battlefield Bad Company 2 wasn't as good as COD that I think they used to design this game. Because again, as we all know about Medal of Honor, this wasn't a game solely designed by DICE. It was split up, and they designed a multiplayer component, and to me, this was like a lot like what Battlefield 1943 was, because that was obviously a test of the new Frostbite engine set as a downloadable title. And to me, this was a way for them to test out some new mechanics and a component of a Major League title that just didn't seem to sync with what they were trying to do with that game. So anyhow, the first complaint I almost always hear when I hear Call of Duty commentators talking about Battlefield, especially Bad Company 2 and Battlefield 2 as well, is that the maps are too large and you have to rely on vehicles or squad spawning. Although there is squad spawning in this game, if you happen to be smart enough to form a squad before you join a game, because after that it's impossible, I believe. And if you can utilize the one tank that they have, one vehicle that's pretty slow and ineffective, in my opinion, they made the maps much smaller, for the most part. In the combat missions, they seem bigger because you're going in sections, but in reality, the amount of map that you're playing in for each of these sections in the combat mission, which is what I'm playing in this video, are rather quite small, and there were way too many choke points. and available sniper lines of sights that it became a sniper fest. And you'll see this in this game. There's sniper after sniper after sniper, and I get a really good double kill there in the video where I caught this guy's unawares looking at the objective. And that's another good tip in this game, at least. Most people are going to be focusing right on the objective point. If you can happen to flank around them, you're going to just take care of them, no problem. But anyhow, the predictable spawns in this game did ruin it. I mean, I won't say nearly ruined it. It did. Because if you got some of these score chains, which we'll talk about in a second, you could basically lay them down on the spawn point of the defending team, and attacking team if you're lucky enough, and just continue to catch them as they left their spawn. That's a problem, because even in Call of Duty, if you got one of the higher level kill streaks, you're probably not going to destroy the whole team with them. Maybe AC-130 Modern Warfare 2 is a good example, tactical nuke of course, but it seemed like this was way too easy to continue just layering score chain kill streaks. There were also too few maps, by the way. I wanted to say that it seemed like they tried to make a variety of map types, but they all looked kind of similar. There wasn't a lot of variety, and nothing seemed to play differently. There was nothing outstanding like you would see even in the new Call of Duty Black Ops maps. You could say a lot of those are reskinning of old maps in such a way and using some sort of game design mechanics. But these really were just rocks and rubble and maybe some dilapidated city areas, war-torn city areas, if you would. Everything kind of blended together. It was a different shade of tan wherever you went. Now I'll get back to the bulleted list. No kill streaks was another complaint. People really love their kill streaks in Call of Duty. And that's pretty obvious if you look at any Call of Duty game in the last 2 or 3 releases here. After COD 4 and World at War, people really love the customizable kill streaks. I want to pick this, this, and this. I want to get, Harrier Strike, AC-130 TAC Nuke in Modern Warfare 2, or UAV, or was it Spy Plane? I'm sorry, in Black Ops, and Napalm Strike and Dogs. So that's interesting. And they tried to make it a nice choice in this. And I actually did like the concept behind their score chain rewards, because number one, they were very accurate in what you would see in the battlefield, in the sense that if you needed flak jacket or match ammo, things like that, it was like a way of supporting your team defensively, and that was very interesting. I really liked the defensive score chain concept in this, because it was buffing your team in a way that didn't attack the other team directly, but made your team stronger. And that's a plus, because in a squad-based, team-based game, if you're one person who's doing well and can then buff everybody else, you're a very valuable asset. You're not just the guy sitting there firing rockets. You're the guy who just made everybody nearly invincible. Cool. Now, like I said, these were very accurate score chain rewards, where you have the cruise missile and the jet fighter strike and things like that, mortar strike, artillery strike. But as I said before, with the maps too small, they became almost too powerful, because you're calling them down next to you, and they could often just decimate the other team too quickly and make them rage quit and just not know what to do, and it made the game very unbalanced. Now, like I said, the defensive score chains were interesting, but they were hardly ever used by the team. I rarely would find teams in the original release playing it, and now people are using it once here and there. But back in the days when it first came out and I was playing it, you would almost always see somebody get a score chain and staying there with binoculars out. You knew they were just waiting to try and get as many kills as possible in 2 seconds. And it probably would have been easier for them to use the UAV, or whatever they called it in this game, I forget now, or the vests, the flak vests, and things like that, to make their team stronger, so they could easily have gotten up to a cruise missile without having to have multiple kill streaks. I also like the points for playing the objective, getting assists, doing things that were beyond just getting a kill. And we saw that in things like Brink, or Homefront, I'm sorry. It was an interesting concept people like, but that game had a different set of problems as well. And I hope that if they would ever do this again, where they have a reward system for play, that they take a note of what was effective in this, in the sense that you actually are given more points. And I think they even have added something in Battlefield 3, where it will give you suppressive fire points. By laying down fire on the enemy team, you'll gain points that you can use just to build up your score and unlock more things, I'm guessing. So anyhow, snipers aren't deadly enough in Battlefield, but I think some people were complaining about it. They loved their quick scoping snipers and things of that nature, and the power of the sniper rifles. And Bush Wookiees and Battlefield Bad Company 2 weren't that powerful. Now, in this game, as you'll notice in some match types and some games here, you're getting killed by snipers with no kill cams, so you have no idea where they're at, and everybody's sitting in a relative corner, back by the spawn, in an obscure place on the map where nobody's looking, and they're just constantly taking you out, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the battle rifles, which are the sniper weapon, or semi-auto sniper weapon in this game, are pretty much as effective as an assault rifle. You could fire that if you had a very quick finger, almost as fast as an assault rifle. And because it's a 2-hit kill to the body and 1 kill to the head, you were pretty much invincible if you were quick enough on the trigger. With the maps being so favorable to spawn trapping, snipers had no reason not to play as a stationary turret, if you will, because that's what they were designed to be by the game designers, in my opinion. And I don't think it worked really well. And again, things like knifing, people said were kind of slow. They didn't like the melee system in Battlefield Bad Company 2. If you look at the knifing mechanic, I think I had 1 or 2, maybe more in this match, where you come up against or behind somebody, and this amazingly fast knife attack comes out. It's almost comical. I mean, it doesn't even look real in some points. And I think, again, they were just trying to experiment with what, if they sped this up, would it really affect the gameplay. And it wasn't as deadly and overpowered as commando knifing in Call of Duty. But it's pretty obvious that they were trying to experiment with ways they could change and how knifing was achieved and how kills would be there. I like what they're doing in Battlefield 3. I know people are going to be complaining about the knifing mechanic in Battlefield 3, where it's 2 hits from the front and the sides and a 1-hit kill from behind. I think it goes into an animation for the kill, and by doing so you also take their tags, and that's the only way you take their tags. And I like that. I think that's a nice fair trade-off for what could be a very overpowered mechanic. Now, there's also no medics in Medal of Honor. That's a class that was omitted, and I think that's something people complained about from the Call of Duty scene. They didn't like people getting revved by medics and taking escort tickets away. And at the same time, that's kind of part and parcel for Battlefield. You got to have that medic class. But anyhow, I think they wanted to push the boundaries of realism with Medal of Honor and say this is how war would be. But I think they almost went too far, because the way they imbalanced some of the options and play styles just didn't make a very enjoyable game. And even though I'm going back to it now to try and explore some more and see what's possible, I think you end up with a game that just doesn't balance out. And I hope that they take the time and look back at what they did with Medal of Honor before Battlefield 3 and even the beta starts, to make sure they're not going down that road again. So anyhow, this is Dinsdale 1978, coming to you from Team MP once again. If you have the chance to like this video, send me a favorite, write me a comment, send me a message. I'm always open to new ideas and critiques about my channel. I hope to keep making videos. I'll catch you around. Take care.